In this video I'm going to give you a rundown on the differences between a drill or drill driver, a hammer drill or combi drill, an impact driver, and a rotary hammer drill. As you can see, these ones are all Makita. Got a couple of Bosch ones in the background there, which I'll just move out of the way for the moment. So we'll start with the drill. Okay, this is the Makita XFD01 in the Northern Hemisphere. I'm not sure what it was numbered as everywhere else. It is a drill driver. So that means you drill with it, obviously. So you've got your drill setting there, and you've got 16 of these clickety torque settings here, which you would use for putting in fasteners, screws, etc. So 2 gears. Most drills have 2 to 3 gears. So those are basically speed. That's the slowest one, and then faster one. So you'd use that depending on the material you're drilling through, be it wood, plastic, metal, that sort of thing. So this one will do wood, plastic, metal, that sort of stuff, not concrete. Forward and reverse, forward, reverse. Okay, so that's a drill driver, commonly just called a drill. This is a hammer drill, or in some parts of the world a combi drill. Basically the same sort of thing. So you have your 2 gears, low gear and high gear. You have your drill function, but as well as the drill function the other one had, you've also got a few extra settings for the for putting in screws. Okay, 1 through to 21, and then you've got this extra hammer mode. And it doesn't sound any different until you put a drill bit in and start putting pressure on it. Now this will drill plastic, timber, wood and concrete. So I'll get into the differences between this and the rotary hammer drill in a moment. This is an impact driver. This is kind of like a combination of these two, but mostly used for fasteners, not drilling. You can drill with them, but the biggest difference, if you look at them of course, is that they don't have your standard chuck. They have a 6.35mm or 1/4 inch hex chuck, which you just slide your bits into, like so, and they're in just like that. Pull them out, done. So they mostly designed for putting in screws, fasteners. They have a hammering action, which is different from the hammering action from this, and different from the hammering action from the next drill I'm going to show you. So the main reason I'm doing this video is because people always ask, why do I need an impact driver? What's the point of an impact driver? I've got a drill driver, why do I need an impact driver? If you've got an impact driver, trust me, you will use it a lot more than you'll use these. Well, I certainly do anyway. If you're putting in screws and stuff then all the time, then forget these, get one of these first. I mean, you'll still always need a drill of course for things, but you can do everything pretty much with one of these days. And the last drill is the big fella here. Just remove this handle, make it slightly easier to show you. So this is a rotary hammer drill. These are all cordless tools that I'm showing you today, but you might notice this one's got 2 batteries. You can get them with single 18-volt batteries, but this is a 36-volt one. So this is a rotary hammer drill. As you can tell, sounds quite different. With this you can drill normally, you can drill with the hammer mode, or you can just have hammer mode. You'd use that for chiseling. So this is designed primarily for drilling concrete. That's what the hammer functions for, but of course you can put it in normal drill mode for other things. But if you were doing drilling through timber and steel and stuff, I would recommend using something more like that, because this is rather heavy and cumbersome. You need a large area to work with. So that's the 4 drills to begin with. Now let's compare these two first. Okay, so like I say, this is just a drill. This has a hammer function as well. Now the hammer function on this is a very small cog in here, which has a whole lot of small teeth on it. About, it's going to have a dozen, 13, 14, somewhere around there. Tiny little teeth. And when you put your pressure down with your concrete drill bit, it will chatter away on that and give you a little bit of back and forward, just to give a hammering function. Now, it makes life easier than using one of these, but if you've ever used a rotary hammer drill, then you'll never use a hammer drill again, because they're a joke, frankly. Power wise, these two drills, this was Makita's top of the line, I think it still is. It was released a long time ago now. It's a very powerful drill. Comes with a massive handle. Look at the length of this puppy. Look at that, it's just so long. If you're putting in screws and things with this and you're not careful and they catch, this thing will just about twist your wrist off. It's quite the beast. Whereas something like this has a lot less chance of doing that, it just doesn't have the torque. So on a daily basis, I would use this over this personally, because this is so bloody heavy. I'm just drilling little holes and stuff, much nicer to use this light little fella. I use this when I need the big jobs done, doing auger bits and things like that. But primarily, this is my favourite. So, why do people say, right, why do I need both? Why can't I just use this? You can just use this to put in screws, but the settings on these, I never use these settings. I never really have. They're just friggin' useless, to be honest. You put in one screw, you get it right, and then you go do the next one, it stops halfway, and you got to fiddle around with this again. They're just a pain in the bum to try and get them accurate, and you end up stripping things out, and just a pain compared to an impact driver. Now, an impact driver, when you're putting a screw in with one of these, you're fighting it the whole time, because it's just the turning action, and you'll know when it's tight and hard that your driver bit pops out, or you drill it and it goes too far, and all that sort of thing. Those problems are pretty much eliminated with an impact driver. Now, an impact driver, you can put in screws just, one finger, just like that. It's just so easy, because this thing isn't going to catch and go whoop with the screw. The impact driver hammers constantly. It has two sort of anvils in here. It spins and bang, spin, bang, spin, bang. So it's hammering your fasteners in all the time, and so you don't have to do the work. You don't have to fight the tool to drive in a big screw. This will just do it by itself. You just have to put your finger on the trigger and it will just do it. It's so easy. And that is why I don't very often use a drill anymore. I certainly never use a drill for putting in screws or anything. You're trying to put in something like that with these into hardwood or something, and they catch, woof, round you go. You'll be drilling away, driving the screw, pushing like buggery usually, and then if it gets a bit tight, it'll go, and you're fighting this the whole time. And that's not good for your fastener either, because if it's catching there and this end's still twisting, good chance you just shear the head off. This eliminates that. It's constantly just bang, 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 so it's not shearing all the time. If it can't get it in, it can't get it in. It won't keep trying, It has the 3 settings. Not all of them have 3 settings. Some have just the 1, some have up to 4, and some have, nowadays, they've got all sorts of clever torque settings and soft settings and this, that, and the other. So you've got very slow, medium obviously, and full grunt for driving in the big buggers. I'll show you what these tools do rather than just tell you about it in a moment, because you've got to have an impact driver. I was the same years ago. I thought, what do I need an impact driver for? I've got a drill that can put screws in with a drill. I would never put a screw in with a drill anymore. So much more accurate, so much quicker, so much nicer, lighter, just so much easier to use. The only problem with one of these is it's very noisy. It's like the hammer drills, you don't notice it until you are actually driving it, then the hammer action kicks in when it needs to. Right, so the differences between these two. Like I said, this has a small little gear, so it has tiny little teeth on it that the chuck basically rides up and down, ding 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 ding. You can barely see it. Makes a very sort of noise, which you'll hear in a moment. This one goes back and forth a long way. You've got a... I'm just going to have to go grab a drill bit. On the drill bits here you'll see these flutes. So the drill can slide that whole length there, which is about 3/4 of an inch, 19-20 mil, that sort of thing. So this whole drill bit is going bang, 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 bang while you're drilling, whereas with the hammer drill, it's just going like that, barely moving, and doing it a lot more per minute, just whereas this one's much more effective. I'll give you a demonstration in a minute with the same size drill bit on how quick these two are. This one's also a hammer drill, sort of cheaper version. I'm not saying it's cheaper because it's Bosch, but it is doesn't have the power that this bugger has. So those are the 4 types of drills that I'm showing you today. I will now show you the difference between trying to put in a screw with a drill and trying to put in a screw with an impact driver, and then I'll show you the difference between trying to drill a hole with a hammer drill or combi drill and then drilling a hole with a rotary hammer drill. After you've done those things, if you've ever used a rotary hammer drill after a hammer drill, you'll never go back to the hammer drill. After using one of these, an impact driver after a drill, you'll never go back to the drill. I almost guarantee it. I know somebody's going to complain down the bottom and bitch and whinge that they both have, their place, and of course they do. I mean, that's why I've got all of them. But these ones are far superior at the jobs they do than these ones. So I have here 3 drill drivers, all set on their drill setting, not the screw setting, and 2 impact drivers, and I'm just going to put these screws in. They're 50mm stainless 12 gauge screws, square drive number 2, or Robertson if you're one of them picky Canadians. Okay, so I'm just going to drive them in on the drilling mode, because that's how I would always do it, because these torque settings annoy me, but then I'll show you the torque setting. Okay, they're all on their highest setting, number 2 on the 3 drills and number 3 on the 2 impact drivers. This is a piece of pine. Now this is how I always used to put in screws, and it works fine. And screws that size. And here you'll notice the big difference. Right, so speed wise you might say, well, they were all the same, why do I need the impact driver? These did it just as good. Yeah, on these size screws it did. Now I'll do it on the way you're meant to do it, the way the manufacturers think you should do it, which is on these stupid numbered settings. So the problem with that is you need to know how to do it. Oh look, that one's too low. And the problem is you've got to keep doing this until you find the one that works, which in this case 17 out of 18. And then so to put it back in, if you pick a number, this is basically so you don't overdo it. It's quite handy if you're doing something like putting up drywall or jib, but it can be a right pain because you have to adjust it almost every friggin' screw, because the density of wood changes so much. See, that's just bullshit. Just drives me nuts. Okay, same thing. Take one out. Start on number 9 out of 16. 10, 11, see, now that's just a pain. Whereas an impact driver just always knows how to do it. So it's so much easier. So much easier. Far less likely to damage the heads. I mean, I can already see that those two screws there that are with the drills are almost buggered, whereas the impact ones, that one there I've done with the Makita, is good as. Now anyway, those screws are easy. Let's try something a bit gruntier. So for this next test, I'm going to drive these 175mm long 14 gauge batten screws, galvanized, into this 200mm 8-inch piece of pine, dry old pine. I'm just going to use the Makita drills for this, so I'll do it first with this one on the drill setting, because as I think I've hopefully demonstrated, these settings are just not good enough for driving anything grunty. They only barely got the last screws in. So if you're doing it on drill, and impact driver. So let's see how well these do. I'm doing it on the highest setting. First up, just the drill driver. No pre-drilled holes. See, that just sucked the life out of that drill. Whew, I can smell it. Now these batteries are all fully charged. So, as you can see, fully charged battery. See, when I pull that now, just about spins my arm around. And you've got to hold on to the drill, else it wants to take you around with it. That's as far as that one's going to get, that one. So now the big boy. Let's see how well she does. This one here has got some turn on it, man. Let's see how we go here. There we go, she did it. Didn't break my wrist either, that's good. And this is how an impact driver will do it. Jeez, it's well stuck. Now, as you can see, that took a lot longer than the hammer drill, but you have a lot more control. And trying to get them out, that's when an impact driver really comes into its own as well, because it doesn't catch right at the beginning. One-handed. There's no way I could do it with this one-handed. Let's see how we go here. Man, that's a good drill. This one can't even get its own screw out. That one's no good. Pooh, stinks now too. So impact driver will be a piece of cake. And yeah, one hand. No bother at all. Now the beauty thing about these is that I can put hex drives and things on here. I can do up bolts and stuff with it. Take lug nuts off your vehicle, that sort of thing, which you can't really do with a drill. Whew, that one stinks, man. I've never given that one such a workout. Normally just drills little holes. She's very smelly. So yeah, far less likely to burn out one of these as well. Should point out as well that this is a brushed tool. So hopefully it's just the brush is stinking away in there. Whereas the hammer drill and the impact driver are brushless. So this one did pretty well then, but it didn't catch on anything. When it catches, then you realise I don't use this a lot of the time just because it's too powerful. Catches on things and spins you around, or just shears these off no problem. Whereas the way that this works with just the hammering and the gentle turning, you won't be shearing off anywhere near as many heads with that as you would with one of these. Plus you've got much more control, you can do it just at the speed you want, whereas this it's sort of all or fucking nothing. Let's just try whacking one of these in on the lower gear and see what happens with the hammer drill. Alright, so got it in alright, but I did have to hold it with two hands. It was fighting a bit. Take her out. That's a very good drill. Not hot either. Unlike this one, which is real hot. Impact driver won't get hot doing those either until you've done quite the number of them. Right, now let's see if this can actually do it on that was the drill mode, so that's basically wanting to drill holes in metal and stuff. That's why it goes in so well. Let's put it on the screw setting, and we'll start off right at number 1 and see if we can get one of these in. Cranking it up to number 5. Cranking it up to number 9. Cranking it up to number 13. Cranking it up to number 17. Cranking it up to 20. And 21. This is top. So in its top screwing mode, the drill is really struggling, barely getting anywhere. I'm trying to take it out in top screwing mode. Doesn't do it, so you've got to change it to drill, and this is where, if you're not prepared, the drill takes off on you, spins around and does a bit of damage to your wrist. So you need to be holding up against the left hand side when you're undoing something so that it doesn't take off around in that direction. So you've got to put some force against it. This camera is not really in the right place, is it? So I'm pushing on this side here because this drill's going to want to go like that as soon as I pull the trigger. See? So as you can see, you can only put in big screws, grunty stuff, with the drill setting. Screw settings on drills, I find, basically a waste of time. I would never use those for screws when I can use one of these. Having said that, a really powerful drill on the drill setting, you might get a screw in a bit further than you might be able to on a small impact driver. But it's like most tools, this is the top of the line Makita one with the most grunt, whereas this is getting a bit old, this one now. There's a few that are more powerful than this, so the more powerful ones probably outdo this now. And for their size, like I say, much better. So another advantage between an impact driver and the drill like this is the size, as you can see. you can get this into a far smaller space than this big bugger, and this weighs about a kg less than this, which is a real heavy beast. And when you're handling them all day, that's a big plus. When it comes to driving something like masonry bolts like this is supreme over a drill. And another cool thing about these compared to drill is this, ready to go. I don't have to undo the chunk, pull it out, look, done. Whereas this, you got it. It's not a big deal, but when you're changing things all day, it makes a difference. See, much quicker in here. Ready to go. So you put a socket on there. Don't worry, that's meant to do that. This is a Makita angle bit you can do on sort of 15-degree angles. Very handy little doohickey. Bam, ready to go. Now this will drive and remove these bolts much easier than one of these. If you drive this in and it gets jammed and you want to take it out, this will hammer away at it until it comes loose, and you won't have any fatigue on your hand trying to hold it there. If this is stuck in there and you try and remove it with this, you're almost going to break your damn arm. Because if this doesn't want to move, this is going to move instead. Because you're never going to have a hope of getting it loose on the screw setting, so you're going to have it on the drill setting, and as soon as you pull that trigger, this is just going to go spin around. And yeah, it happens. And even, you know, sometimes you're not expecting it, you don't think it's going to be tight, and if you're not bracing yourself, you end up in trouble. And you can, of course, with an impact driver, use any of these hex shanked pieces, drill bits. Because it does that hammering action, you never get any, like I say, it never catches and spins you around. So that's quite handy in that regard. But the ease of just whipping bits out, you're drilling and screwing with the same tool, it's just so much easier. So you can go bang, drill your hole, and then whip out your drill bit, chuck in your driver bit, and then bam, put your screw in. So quick and easy. Or even better, you have several drills and several impact drivers all set up at once and you don't have to change anything. That's the best way to do it. But I know not everybody's got that many drills and impact drivers. Anyway, I love my impact driver, my Makita impact driver. I'm going to do a test between these two. I've done a basic test between these, and as far as I'm concerned, this is the top of the line Bosch version of an impact driver, and this one's now a few iterations back on the Makita line, so it's not at the top anymore. But these two are fairly much the same ratings wise. I do recall, yeah, speed wise, yeah, they're the same. This one's supposed to be slightly quicker, but this definitely kicks this one's butt driving in screws. But some people think this is better with lug nuts and stuff, so I'm going to do a demonstration shortly between these two on lug nuts. But if I had to only pick one of the tools and drills that are on this bench, between all of them, I would go for an impact driver any day of the week, because I can do everything with this and I can do it much more comfortably and accurately. It's just a little bit noisy, that's all. You do have to wear earmuffs if you're using this all day, it gets a bit tiresome on that regard. But your wrist will thank you for it, that's for sure, because driving screws with this all day, you're going to have a very sore wrist at the end of the day if you're driving these sort of things. Whereas you can drive them all day with an impact driver, you don't notice it, because the tool does the work. You don't have to fight the tool. This is still, of course, a very good drill, and I'm happy to have all of these drills, and I use them all. But I by far use this the most. Every time you want to just undo a screw, you know, if I was pulling this tool apart, I'd be using this tool to do it, just choo, 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 choo. Whereas I wouldn't bother using a drill to try and undo something like that anymore. I don't even think about it anymore. I just would never use a drill for screws, because this is far superior. And even if you think it didn't look superior in the video, Trust me, once you've used an impact driver, you won't go back.